Hey guys, it's Victoria and welcome back to FemHead. Today I want to share some of my favorite cycle period related books that I own that are actually on my bookshelves right now. So I have this one and then one on the other side of the couch. So we're going to start over here. And these are in no particular order, just I have my bookshelves like color coded because I just think it looks nice and it's easy to do. Theo just took a very short nap, so this might not be happening right now. We'll give him a couple minutes and we'll start. You can't see them, but there's white ones up here. Okay, we're gonna start with In the Flow. I just grabbed it from my nightstand because I've been slowly working my way through it. But this is by Elisa Vitti, and I always recommend her to anyone that comes to me looking for help with hormonal imbalances or things like PCOS, endometriosis. It's definitely something you should look into. In the Flow is all about like her talking about the cycle syncing method, how to integrate your life and plan things around your cycle. Some people look at having a menstrual cycle and a period as a negative thing and it gets in the way and it slows them down. But if you really learn about the different phases and the strengths that you have in each phase, you can use those to your advantage and just really create a fulfilling life working with what you have. I think I'm almost done. I might have finished this, but I want to make a whole video about this. But this is a great book. I actually didn't know. I have her first book, Woman Code, which we'll talk about when we get to the other bookshelf. But I didn't even know she was coming out with a second book. But then my friend Chloe shared that this was out, and so of course I had to go and buy it immediately. And this one was sent to me by the author Shannon Leparsky. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. But the Happy Hormone Guide, I love this sort of book that uses natural methods to balance out your cycle. I haven't worked my way all through this one, but essentially it is a plant-based program to balance hormones, increase energy, and reduce PMS symptoms. So I think these kind of books are great to have in your library, if you will. This one is full of recipes, all sorts of good stuff. So I need to restack like what I want to currently read. So I want to make sure I don't know if I've finished In the Flow, but I want to look through the Happy Hormone Guide because I haven't completely worked my way through that one. One of the OGs. I read this years and years and years ago, and I always recommend it to anyone that's looking into why they want to get off hormonal birth control. But this one is The Pill, Are You Sure It's For You by Jane Bennett and Alexander Pope. I've met Jane Bennett. She is a lovely woman. I did a facilitator training with her for Celebration Day for Girls in Bath, England, of all places. And this is one of those where it has sticky notes. Like this connected all the dots to me. I knew that there was things happening or things that I had been dealing with while on hormonal birth control, but this like gives you the answers, and anyone that has a menstrual cycle, I highly recommend this one. What I refer to as the FAM Bible, Taking Charge of Your Fertility. If you know anything about FAM or charting or like have gotten into cycles at all, hopefully you know about this book. I buy it for people like friends that are trying to get into charting and that sort of stuff. I actually need to make a note to order one of these for a friend that's getting into it. But this is obviously a very thick book. It's chock full of just like amazing information. I'm trying to film with Theo rolling around because he slept in, so he's skipping his first nap and I want to film. So anyways, this is chock full of information about your cycle. And so it can seem a bit overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, I have to go through that entire textbook to start charting, but you don't. Like, what you actually need to do to like chart your cycle is just such a small section of the book. I don't know if this is it exactly, but a must have. Like I have the 10th anniversary edition, but there's a 20th anniversary edition. The Greatest Experiment Ever Performed on Women by Barbara Seaman. Yeah, just talking about estrogen, birth control. I don't think I've completely finished this one because it's medical, we'll call it. There's just a lot of like information and facts in here, and you have to kind of be in the right mindset to do your way through a book like this. Like you have to have a pen and that sort of stuff. But I'm gonna pull that out because I want to work on that one as well. Another one that I recommend to everyone is the Period Repair Manual. I have both copies of this one. The gray one's the original and the pink one's the second edition. Laura Brydon. I always mix up like Laura. My mom's name is Laura. One of my good friends' name is Laura. Please don't touch that. And so I'm bad with names. But anyways, I also, just like Elisa Vitti, I always recommend this gal, Laura Brydon, to everyone. Like if you're having any sort of like hormonal issues, this is something that you should have in your collection. Yeah, but it's just natural treatments for like better periods. This is how I figured out I had a progesterone deficiency. I tried what she suggested with zinc and magnesium, and eventually tried Vitex, which really helped me. One to have on your shelf. This is a new one that I haven't gotten a chance to read, but it's like just a cute, fast little one. Claire Baker. She is another amazing like period guru. This one is called 50 Things You Need to Know About Periods. Know your flow and live in sync with your cycle. So it's just like kind of like a coffee table sort of book. It takes you through the different phases. But that one's worth recommending because I know I'm going to like that one. The Optimized Woman, I read this years ago. This is the first book I read that introduced me to like the 4 phases and how we do have different strengths and weaknesses during different phases. You know, kind of the similar thing to what Elisa Vitti talks about in the Flow. I think you just can't get enough of this one. This one's by Miranda Gray. Takes you through your 4 phases. I learned a lot with this book, so another one I recommend. I think that is shelf number 1. Let's go over to the next shelf. Okay, shelf number 2. Sweetening the Pill, Holly Briggs Fall. She's a lovely lady, but regardless, this is a great book. It's not like a jam-packed textbook, but it's jam-packed. This is one of those that I went through, I don't know if you can see, with like pen, and I just marked it all up. I got this early on in my like journey. But this one's called Sweetening the Pill, or How We Got Hooked on Hormonal Birth Control, and it kind of goes through the history of hormonal birth control and like some of the red flags that came up along the way, but they just continued on. Like the pill, this one is another like must read for anyone with a menstrual cycle. Fertility, Cycles, and Nutrition. I actually got this book when I took my natural family planning course through the Catholic Church, which is actually a very great experience. I got this one. It was part of like the course package. This is similar to, in a way, to the period repair manual. Yeah, it just goes through like all the different like hormonal imbalances, issues that you could have, and how to heal those naturally with like nutrition, supplements, that sort of stuff. So this one's a good one to have. This one's a fun little one. My Little Red Book. All it is first period stories, and it covers like generations. You know, people that recently got their first period, like grandmother's first period stories. And like this one is such a connecting book because you realize that everyone with a menstrual cycle has a first period story. And I think first period stories are very powerful to share. And I've made a whole video about my first period. So many great books unrelated to cycles, but we're sticking to cycles today. This was my kind of like textbook, we'll call it, for my NFP course, The Art of Natural Family Planning. I got the 2nd edition. So this is a good kind of like textbook sort of thing to go through if you want to do NFP. Woman Code. This is the other book by Elisa Vitti. That's how I first discovered her. I got this from the library. I originally checked it out, and like immediately in the first chapter I was like, this is a book I need to own. I want to mark it all up, and you can't mark up library books and you can't keep them. So I ordered this, and yeah, this one is just fabulous. This is great if you are struggling with any sort of like hormonal imbalance. A big one like PCOS, endometriosis. She actually had or has, I don't know the technical term, PCOS, and she healed it naturally, and she like changed her whole life path to like help people with hormonal imbalances and issues. I would say this is kind of like a meal plan for people with hormonal imbalances, and you kind of completely restructure. I've never synced my eating to my cycles, but I know through this book and just reading her stories and stuff, countless women who have had great success healing very serious hormonal issues by changing their diet. I have no idea where I got this one. This is a super old book. The Doctor's Case Against the Pill. This is an old one. Another one by Barbara Seaman, the one that wrote The Greatest Experiment Ever Performed on Women. This one's another one, interesting one if you're looking into like the negative sides of hormonal birth control. I'm sure I've missed a book or two. I've read so many great books over the years, just like checked them out from the library and that sort of stuff. I try to share my favorite books either on my channel, or I have like an Amazon page that I try to keep all my favorite books cycle period related, and then just like there's so many good books that I've read that aren't related to periods that I put on there too if you're looking for different types of reading. But those are some of the favorites that I have on my bookshelf. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Let me know down below some of your favorite cycle. Let me know down below some of your favorite cycle or period related books. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!